channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, hi, it's very nice to see you. My name is Lauryn. Today I will be walking you guys through a Hatha Yoga Flow. I found that you guys really enjoy these yoga videos, so I will definitely be doing them more often as it holds me accountable for my yoga journey, as well as sharing it with you all and hopefully inspiring some of you guys to start your yoga journey as well. So, sorry I'm catching my breath. I've actually just finished the flow. So I'm kind of coming down from the high and I feel really good. And so I'd love for you guys to let me know how this flow worked out for you, how it made you feel. Definitely do leave me some feedback down below on how you feel, and if there's any other flows that you would like me to work with. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's get into the flow. So I'm going to start off with reaching my arms above my head and reaching down to my toes and just continuing this motion going up above my head and down to my toes. I love to make sure not to force this when I am reaching above and reaching for my toes, especially if you're just starting the flow. So then we're going to go into what I like to call the seal pose. I believe that's the actual name for this pose, is the seal pose. Holding it. You can hold these poses for, I would say, maybe count to 5. Whatever feels good for you. Then we're going to pull out our left leg in a lunge and reach up for the sky. Then we're going to go back into the seal pose. Holding. And then we're going to pull up our right leg and lunge again and reach up for the sky. Really focusing on your posture and the force. Breathing, remembering to breathe. One thing I really like to do is focus on my environment, focus on the nature that is around me. So we're back in seal pose again, then we're bringing it up to downward dog. Holding downward dog. Stretching. I like to bend my knees. Whatever feels good for you. You will always hear me say that when talking about yoga, is doing whatever feels good for you. Do not force anything. So, especially in this pose, which I will do again right now, I'm doing kind of bending and focusing my force above my head, taking it down to my toes and hugging the back of my knees. And no worries if you are not very flexible in this pose. As you can see, I'm not very flexible in that pose. Just doing what feels good, going down into the lunge and planting both hands on the ground and holding them there. Again, focus on posture. That is one thing that we do focus on in this flow, is posture and making sure our posture is good. So again, going to this hugging of my knees and slowly working through it. So if you feel like you have to bend while doing this pose, that is okay. Just do what feels good and be easy on your body, because this flow, just a disclaimer, it will make you sore because you're stretching out certain parts of your body that may be stiff when it comes to your posture. So taking it up above my head again and bending and holding this pose and back down to a lunge with both hands planted on the ground, lunging. I did hold this for a little bit longer. If you feel like you need to hold certain poses for longer, do so. That is completely fine. It is your practice. Going back to the hugging of the knees, stretching it out. I went back to this pose quite a lot because I'm not that great at it, so I wanted to make sure that I spent some time on it. So here we're just doing some focused breath work. We're going to kneel down, both hands on the ground, knees and arching back. Breathe out, arching up, breathing in and out. Then walking ourselves up to our toes, stretching that out, and hugging the back of the knees again. So now we're in the seal pose, holding the seal pose, making sure posture is good. Then we're going to bring it down, putting arms by the side, bringing them back behind your back, and lifting your torso off of the ground. This pose is very interesting. It's kind of hard. It's harder than I thought it would be. And then bringing that bucket back up to the seal pose. So I'm going to do this a few times. You'll see me do it again. But going back to that lunge. So in this flow, you will see that I repeat certain poses multiple times. So going back down and doing that same pose, lifting the bottom half, our Hara Chakra, off the ground, and doing seal pose again, and this time extended back a little bit more, and then went into lunge again. Posture kind of went weird there, but again, just always do what feels good to your body. So then we're leaning forward, kind of stretching for our toes, but making sure to look up. Then we're going to go back to hugging the back of our knees. And again, if you feel like you need to bend through this pose, do what feels right to you. Extending out, stretching up, reaching up, focusing on force, and back down. Back to the seal pose. And we're bringing it down. We're going to lift our bottom half off of the ground again, our Hara. This time bending our knees and lifting our toes. And going up into downward dog. spending some time here in downward dog, and we're gonna lunge and reach up, 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 focusing on force. Kind of fell out of that. You'll find in this flow that when you're focusing on certain parts of your body and moving the force upward, you will feel your body come down and kind of push forward. So again, focusing on that Hara, bringing it back up to downward dog. I like to call this pose pyramid. That's what we're going to call it. I don't really like downward dog, so I'm going to call that our pyramid pose. Going back to our lunge and focusing on force, up, 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 reaching back, both hands together. Coming back to seal pose as we started. Really stretching back. Then we're going to finish it off with our pyramid pose. Walking up, walking to my feet, and looking up. And then we're going to hug the back of our knees again. I really like this pose as well because it's like hugging our body. It's like really focusing on loving the body. So then here we're going to reach forward again, reaching for our ankles. I'm on a slant, that's why my body looks like that. Gonna open our legs, arms length wide, and stretching to the right hand side, focusing force up. Then we're gonna go reach up and to the other side, to the left side, focusing force up. Really helps to look at your hand, look at the sky. Reaching up. And then we're going to lunge to the right hand side. Place hand down right next to your foot, and force is focused up. The other hand is up. Then we're going to go to the other side, the left hand side. Lunge, kneel. Placing your other hand down and up. So placing your left hand down and your right hand up, I believe, or left hand. You'll be able to figure it out when you're there. So then we're going to do a straddle, pulling ourselves towards the back of our legs in a straddle. Then we bring our legs a little bit closer together, reaching down, doing a straddle. Okay. Then I opened my legs a little bit wider to a straddle, bringing hands down. Kind of putting your elbows on your knees and bending in a straddle. Your head does not have to touch the ground, but if you feel comfortable doing that, you can also do that as well. So now we are going to go into one of my favorite poses in yoga always, just because I love trees, and this pose always really helps me to connect with the tree spirit as well. So if you are doing this outside, it would be really great for you to focus on a tree. As I did, there was a tree right in front of me, so I focused on literally mirroring the tree, focusing on the tree's stillness and allowing that to guide me in this pose. So make sure your foot has a good, nice spot right on your other leg, and you're going to come into prayer position right at your heart chakra and lift up to the sky. Remember, focusing on force, and then you're going to open up both arms. This is considered the victory pose. And again, focus on a tree. If you have a tree in front of you, really focusing on becoming one with the tree, mirroring the tree. And you're going to bring it down back to your heart chakra, prayer pose. And then we're going to go down, grounding. And you can bring your foot down and you can go to the other side. I always like to take my time, making sure I get a good position of my foot on my leg. I was wearing socks, and so my leg was kind of sliding. Back to the prayer pose. This pose looks very easy, but it takes balance and focus. And you'll see, I came out of it. So if you come out of it, just go right back in. Being patient with yourself as it takes balance and focus. It's interesting, sometimes one side will be much easier than the other. It kind of gives you pointers on which part of your body may be out of whack versus the other. So again, our victory pose, becoming one with the tree, bringing it back to prayer pose, and down to ground, and we come out of it. So now we are going to do another one of my favorite poses in yoga. We're going to bring up our foot and we're going to lean forward. Again, it's really nice to focus on trees, things that are still when doing poses like this. Bringing up our foot and moving forward, coming out of it. Then we're going to do the other side. Again, like I said, one side is always a little bit better than the other. Or I shouldn't say better, it flows a little bit easier than the other. This is a great stretching tool, bringing up that arm, right? See how it kind of went down for me, so I'm making sure that you bring it up. You can always focus on something when it comes to that. So then we're going to stretch back. Take your time with this. Have your arms up above your head and stretching back. And you'll notice when you do this pose, your body will move forward just because your force was focused on going backwards. So it's okay if you kind of launch forward when you come out of that. To try to have some control. Again, we're going to lift our foot. Only this time we're not grabbing it. Lifting our foot as high as you can. And coming down. Stretching back. Again, bringing arms above the head and focusing your force backwards. Take your time with that pose, whatever feels right for you. It's kind of painful sometimes and it can cause some soreness. So then we come down. I like to kind of call this a frog pose. We're going to do it again here in prayer. And holding that, really opening up the sacral chakra and the root chakra. So then we're going to lie down and we're going to lift our body up off the ground, holding our legs above our upper body and bringing it down forward. Again, take your time with this because this focuses on the spine, and if you haven't done this in a very long time, it can be painful. What I like to do is bend my knees, as you can see, and slowly work my way into it. The goal is to get your feet to touch behind your head, but again, take your time with it because this is more of a painful pose, and if you haven't done it before, it can be kind of painful and hurt your spine a little bit. So then we're going to go to bridge, holding the bridge. Coming down out of the bridge and bringing our knees up to our upper body and hugging the body. This is another one of my favorite poses, is hugging the knees inwards. Then we're going to bring our legs straight out in front of us, lifted above, kind of like a plank, forward plank, bringing them up, bending, hugging the knees to the upper body. Take your time here as long as you need, bringing them up and down back to the plank, holding and bringing your knees back into the body, hugging the body. And you can do this as many times as you feel comfortable. I believe I'm going to do it one more time. Plank and hugging the body. And this is how I finish up the Hatha Yoga Flow. I bring myself up and I go back into hugging the body, thanking my body for the flow, and looking around at my surroundings, taking it all in. Thank you guys so much for joining today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this flow. If you did, please feel free to leave feedback, like, share, subscribe, and I hope that this made you feel better on this day, wherever, whenever you're watching this. Blessings.